Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EU PC Open Tier mid-season finals between, well, exclamation point play and Flexodiax. This should be a great series of Overwatch here, GL, and I'm really excited to see these two teams battle it out.
Yeah, I mean, these are two titans. Exclamation mark play definitely, because they've had a very, very dominant season so far in the open tier of the EU PC division. But their opponents today, they're nobody to look over. They're just out of playing in OWCS, right? And that alone gives them a lot of credit and a lot of leeway in terms of predicting this match. To not be as much of a one-way stomp, because last time these teams met, it was a 3-0, but maybe that time in the highest echelon of Overwatch has given Flexodiax a little bit more experience and maybe some tools to defeat exclamation mark play here.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree with you there. It is going to be a little bit more challenging, I would think, like you said, for exclamation point play this time around. Solely just because they did get the high level of competition that OWCS is now giving to these players. I'm more interested in however, how these two teams are going to be battling it out, because we've seen mainly Ramacha Rush with Moira coming into these plays, but unless you're Space Station Gaming, so we could see Winston come out from one of these two teams if they so desire. I mean, that is a composition that can be played. I'm just interested to see if they are gutsy enough to try and make that happen.
I'd be shocked. I mean, Space Station Gaming, that's another tier above, right? You don't quite. I mean, you've got good tank players here. We don't quite have Hattie. You know, I think Ramacha is definitely kind of the core meta. You do see a lot of Junker Queen compositions be able to outrun that composition. Yeah. That extra health that Queen can give to the rest of the team in this new health economy is just very valuable. And then you can have a Kiriko, and the main reason you're playing the Moira is to survive the tracers and have a little bit more sustain. But if you have a Kiriko, you've got more pop-off potential, hitting those kunais to the head. So there's lots of give and push here when it comes to this, brawl-orientated meta that we have, particularly here in the EU.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see how this goes. And we are, I think we're waiting for a couple people to join the game, but while we are waiting for that, let's take a look at the rosters here and see what these two teams are going to be looking at. Is Kyo, Muse, and then it is Chaba and Panda on the support line, and 12s as their tank player. Man, I'm actually quite scared of Muse on this team, solely because we've been told that they microwave their Red Bull, and that just genuinely scares me.
That is utterly unhinged. There is no other words to put that kindly. But I mean, when you're dealing with a hit scan player, what do you expect, right? Other than something unhinged, because Muse is going to be on this tracer, and they are a very, very strong individual in terms of their just base mechanics and also their understanding of playing around the map. In fact, there's a very high possibility that we do see the dive come out, potentially in the Doomfist, as obviously we can see Twals hovering over that. But it is a strong comp, it is a strong lineup, and it is why they've been so dominant, because all these individual parts make up to a very, very strong core of a team.
Yeah, now let's take a look at Flexodiax again. It has been the team that just got dropped out of the OWCS. Unfortunately, it had a short run, but when you play against teams like oh my goodness, who were the teams they played against?
Quick Esports.
Yeah, Quick Esports, who had Dawn, Jax. I mean, kind of be hard. And then obviously the other the second team in OWCS EU with Masa, Vestola, Crimzo, Kevster, Kai. I mean, it was kind of a loaded plate for them in the long run, but hey, still they had this that nice experience, I would say, and then it should help them in the long run going forward. As Karuma and Tricky on that DPS line, Sonic remaining the tank role, Risu and Rod FD there as well on the support line. Again, we'll see how they can figure it out. How do they bounce back from that disappointing OWCS run?
Yeah, well, this team was founded in 2016, so they've been around for a while. Obviously, they've went through roster changes over time, but in the fall of 2023, that's when they joined their org of Everfrost Esports with their current roster. They picked up Sunny, and since then, they've been running this core. So they have got time together, and of course, the longer you're together as a team, just the more you're going to instinctually understand the way that each other play. And they haven't had the best run against Esmar play. We mentioned that they did get 3-0'd in their last meeting here in CGL, but that's during the regular season, and now we're in the playoffs. Now we're in the mid-season finals, and there's a lot on the line. There's a lot of points on the line to walk towards that grand finals, but also it's sort of a mock finals, right? This is your time to test yourself as a player, as an individual, as a team against the other top teams, and really set up what that grand finals might look like for your team and for the overall division.
Yeah, and also saying that they played them in week 1. I mean, that it's been a while, and I think that was before, correct me if I'm wrong, before the Season 9 changes. So that could bring a whole different element into this, because if we look at what Flexodiax like to run, I mean, Winston, very good. Ramatra, very, very good. I think that's going to really help them down the line, especially if 12 sticks on that Doomfist. That Ramatra can really make it a living hell for a Doomfist player.
Yeah, Doomfist, it's a very feast or famine situation with Doomfist players, where the hero can get a lot done, and coordinated well with your DPS, you will just eviscerate people. But if that 3-1 is thwarted in some way, or there's a queen, for example, on the other side to get a good shout timing, then you're kind of stuck in hot waters. You know, Doomfist is a very committal tank, more so than the Wrecking Ball, a little less than Winston. So kind of that mid ground between a Wrecking Ball and a Winston, you know, you could say theoretically. But yes, if they run a Sombra, if they run to counter a Doomfist, then you're going to have a very tough time if you're a Doomfist one trick. But I don't believe we have any Doomfist one tricks here, so that's not going to be an issue. We do know that the first map that we head to will be Lijiang, so I expect on Gardens, that's where we're going to see the more dive-orientated play styles come out. If we are going to see any, potentially, like you said, the Winston or the Doomfist. I doubt Wrecking Ball, because Wrecking Ball has kind of faded out of the meta. Briefly, when Zen was very strong, you saw a lot of Zen compositions with the Wrecking Ball, but that's kind of faded out, especially after the Zen nerfs. So if we are going to see dive, I do think you're right. I think we might see some Winston. But overall, with Lijiang Tower, I think Ramatra's king here on Night Market both, and on Control Center, of course. You run this Ram composition, tight corridors for the Moira to get good orbs off as well, tight spread as well. So I think what team has the better of the Ramatra composition could be the decider here in Lijiang.
It really could. It really could. I believe we're still just waiting for one more player, waiting on Tricky from Flexodiax. And then we will be ready to head into the game to see, well, who will be getting that extra match win going into the regular season playoffs at the end of stage 2. And then, I mean, and I think it is, I forget what, it's a couple map wins if you come in second. Yes, 3 bonus. Okay, first place is 1 bonus match win to your season record. 3 bonus map points added to your season record for second place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nice, but that match win is what you're really looking for here.
Yeah, that will really give you that comfort, especially if Smart played against it, because they have been utterly dominant. They've seen very little competitive games. It's been very stomp heavy on their side. So if they get that, then they're pretty much absolutely cemented for that grand finals. Talk about finals right now. Over on CGL 1, the Masters tier has been an absolute banger. So it just goes to show that the EU divisions are really popping off. But let's focus in here on the open division between !Play and Flexodiax, as we start out here on Lijiang Gardens. Perhaps going to see some of that dive we talked about. Of course, Tracer is an absolutely pivotal character right now. Being able to go on a flank and just at the very least proc that DPS passive. It's a very important style in this new world of Overwatch in Season 9. Twals is hovering the Doomfist here, where it looks like Flexodiax, Sony's going to be on the Orisa, playing more of what we've seen teams that aren't as comfortable with the Doomfist play kind of counter to the Doomfist here. So it's all about how Sony can interrupt Twals as they go in for these dives.
Well, okay, there it is. Okay.
There we go.
As we are going to be seeing that, Kuruma is going to start it off, though. Going to be taking Chaba out of the fight already. That's what that Tracer's looking to do. Get into that backline, take out those key supports, and as well as Kyo going down. It's just going to be a rotation back from exclamation point play, and Flexodiax going to be starting off strong here.
Yeah, a lot of base DPS output from the backline as well, having that Baptiste is going to be a very big dive target though, so Rice needs to be very careful. So far though, Kuruma's done a great job at controlling these angles and finding those flanks. You can tell just pure by the pulse percentage.
Twals going over to the Zarya now. Needs to get some charge, though, if they really want to make a difference with this character. Is still waiting it out. Sone just with this Orisa is shooting down range, just getting so much damage, getting this ultimate almost already up. Kitsune Rush, though, from Chaba, going to be invested early on, as there's the Amp Matrix in response. A lot of people are low on the side of exclamation point play. They still got to be able to find these picks, still waiting it out, still nothing really doing quite just yet. The Terra Surge now being invested, rotating around into the safety of that sight line. Still, nothing really going quite just yet, but Sone's so low. The Sound Barrier is going to be saving lives for the moment, but Kuruma is going to be able to take down Kyo in the back line, and it looks like Flexodiax are going to be able to keep things going their way. Twals is going to be able to take down Tricky, but I think that's only going to be a consolation prize in all of this, as Flexodiax are holding strong.
Tricky is doing a very good job at keeping Muse in situations where they cannot get as much done. Kuruma is getting a lot of space where they can just go into the team there in the middle of play and just taking out Kyo. Absolutely dominant so far. They're very good at kiting this one. 80% on the point. They're looking at potential 100% to 0.
Yeah, as Kuruma has the Pulse Bomb available. Deadeye, though, coming in from Kyo. Not going to be able to find anything. Pulse Bomb stick coming through, taking him down. The Graviton Surge has been invested, but nothing really being found out. So that's really going to be about it with Twals going down. It is just a couple people left. Muse has fallen out. It's just this Lucio left, and Kuruma takes Panda out. And that is going to, well, not be it quite just yet, but it is just a waiting game now. The overtime bar ticking away. People trying to get back to the point, but it's just not going to be possible. Flexodiax takes round number 1.
I think Flexodiax had that one in their hand, completely within their grip the entire time. Even when those ults were coming out from play, a nice placed Amp Matrix meant that they couldn't pursue it with both Kitsune Rush up and other ults up as well. The idea of going to the Zarya to counteract the Orisa, I mean, it's a very kind of baseline idea of counterpicking, where the true downfall of Orisa isn't that she can't block a beam, it's that once she utilizes her small amount of effect and output on the team, you can very easily go around the Orisa, just kind of go past her, and she can't do much to help her team out. That's something that you could utilize if you went to like a Queen composition here, but they are still going to play this Zarya, now with the Baptiste actually for a little bit more healing in the front line against Sony.
I mean, I really like the Zarya, especially in the Orisa, but it's just got to be Twals getting their their charge up. You can't do anything at this charge. Sone is going to be finding Kyo out of the fight. You just got to be able to maintain at least a 60% charge if you're 12s right now. And right now, they might not need it because the rest of their team is doing their job, finding these picks. And, well, Panda going to go off the side of the map thanks to Rod, though. But still, it looks like exclamation point play have the upper hand. Well, not any longer with Risu and Tricky finding two there late, hindering coming through with a grenade as Kyo's trying to run out, try to stay alive.
Yeah, some key eliminations there mid-fight, especially by Rod. Getting that Lucio off of the map just meant that Twalls was standing like a duck. Couldn't really get too much done, even if they had the high charge. Now they'll be pushing into Amp Matrix in this fight. They will be able to potentially get a high noon, create some space for themselves on point, but it's still going to be right into this window.
Yeah, as Walls is looking to build up to that Graviton Surge, try to build up their charge as well to get into this, as they're going to get Risu so low. Going to have to invest the Immortality Field to stay alive. The Deadeye, though, is going to be able to find it. There's the Pulse Bomb in response as the Terra Surge finds out Kyo, but it's traded back with a grenade of their own. Still, so, I mean, exclamation point player in a very good way to take back this point, or at least, yes, take back the point, because they did get some capture percentage to start it off.
Yeah, good pressure. Amazing pressure applied by Muse to stop Risu being able to find a good placement for the Amp Matrix, meant that they didn't do it. Now Play have a 4 ult game coming up, and Rod doesn't quite have the beat yet. Needs to build that for this fight to be able to sustain. Going over to the Ramatra now, trying to give that output here with those fists.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult, more difficult for Twills to get value with the Zarya, but you can just chuck in that grab because there's no more Javelin spin any longer. Pulse Bomb is out, not going to be able to find anyone with it. Tricky was very close to going down, not getting stuck with it in the end. Soundbaiter coming in as well from Rod, trying to keep things going their way. And in the meanwhile, Flexodiax was able to transition the point over into their favor. So this has all been ticking up in the favor of Red, but it might just not matter as exclamation point play get it back into their favor.
Yeah, I think the amount of pressure coming out on these very thin corridors has forced the Orisa swap, and maybe Flexodiax isn't quite as strong here with the rematch. I mean, so far they've struggled mostly because of the ultimates, which Play doesn't have anymore. You can come in here, get a good pulse bomb, try and force these bubbles first and pulse bomb the tank.
As Twills is going to go in there, has that high charge. Kyo looking down range, not going to find anything with the Deadeye, but still holding out time, taking back the percentage into their favor, going up and up and up now for Blue, but they've got to be able to rotate to the point before it gets flipped back over to Flexodiax, and Sones finds Twills out of the fight already. Going to be hindered up, but not going to be found out quite just yet. They're just catching the fists of Sone. The stick comes through. Muse finds another one, and it might just turn it right back into the favor off the back of Muse, and that could be massive. They have to get it back into their favor, though. But, I mean, Muse is just a one-man wrecking crew for exclamation point play here, Gio.
Absolutely unhinged gameplay here from the microwaving Red Bull expert. That pulse bomb was a very keen choice there. Took Sonny out of the fight. Now they forced Flexodiax into that uncomfortable position. They do have the ultimates a little bit faster here. They're looking to take position on the high ground with this Amp Matrix.
Yeah, as they're very close to getting things going, but the Annihilation is going to be popped up by Sone. The Deadeye is going to trade, though. Risu is out of the fight, and Sone is so low right now. Going to have to go into that Nemesis form to proc up some health, but that might just not be enough as the sound barrier is just a little too late. Overtime in the favor of exclamation point play, and they've just got to deal with a Rod. Overtime bar ticking away, and it doesn't really look like anyone's going to be able to touch from at Flexodiax. And that is going to be that all tied up on Lijiang Tower.
A really nice choice for the Amp Matrix in that corridor there, because you create a crossfire onto the point that Sonny had to touch. It was overtime. Sonny didn't have a choice, and they got stuck into a position of wanting to take cover. But also, if they stopped blocking, they would be out of the fight back to spawn. So a very keen choice there from the Baptiste of Jabba to keep Play in that fight. Flexodiax, they struggled there against the Zarya in a very you know, probably the most brawl-centric map there. But now as things open up a bit, Karuma can look for those angles again that they were finding on Gardens to try and alleviate that pressure of the front line and try and get what they done on Gardens, which was 100-0, much less close than what we just saw there on Control Plane.
Yeah, we'll see. Sony's made the swap back over to the Orisa. We'll see how it works again. There's still 12 is sticking with the Zarya. And I mean, even though we saw them both bring out the Ramatra towards the end of that last round, we'll see if we see a quick swap from Sony after if they die here, as the fight is already breaking out and Kyo's already found tricky here. Sony trying to frontline, trying to force back everyone from exclamation point play, but they still haven't found anything, and right now they're just finding damage all on their face, taken down, but Rod is found 2 with a boop. So there's still enough. The Lucio coming in from Flexodiax finds another one, and that might just be enough. It is going to be enough for Flexodiax to get the point into their favor.
Well, deja vu there from Control Center when it was again Flexodiax that won the fight, but it was Play that got the initial point switch. But of course, Flexodiax want to be holding on to this one a little bit more. Pulse Bomb is ready from Karuma. Isn't going to go for the flank yet. It's just contesting Muse here, forcing out the Tracer, and that's something that they did really well in Gardens.
Yeah, as the Amp Matrix is going to be invested already, but Sony's blown up. Tricky is going to take it back, but again, Qualls has got this super high charge, but it's getting traded back. It's 2 for 2. It's still anyone's fight right now, and I think Flexodiax, with just the advantage of the position, are going to be able to keep things going their way, unless Muse can find a Pulse Bomb stick, but no, they don't find anyone with it, but the grab is going to be invested, and Twolls finds 2. That is a huge play coming in from the Zarya. Another one coming in, another one bites the dust with the beam of the Zarya, and another one might come with them too. Twolls is on a rampage here, finding 4 for exclamation point Play.
Every one of these grabs has been a very dominant fight-winning effect. And the longer these fights go, of course, the higher injury that Zarya's going to have, and just the more damage output into your face if you're Flexodiax. But you've still got this beat from both sides. You can be nice and aggressive if you're Flexodiax. Just have to watch that the fight doesn't go too long so that Twalls has that nice high damage.
Yeah, as the rotation is coming in. Wow, Flexodiax just gets the point back for free without a fight going their way. As they still have ultimates to invest as well. As the Pulse Bomb did come out, Panda gets it traded after they go down to the Pulse Bomb of their own, and still fighting this way, pummeling their way to victory perhaps. But right now, nothing's really doing. A lot of people are low. Twolls is so low, but the Pulse Bomb did come through onto Risu, and Muse finds another one, but it's traded back immediately with Sone finding a pick with that pummel. Still, can anyone hold on? Panda's gonna go down with the sound barrier still available, and that might just solidify everything for Flexodiax.
It's 90%. You might be right there. You do still have a high charge Zarya coming into this last fight. That's one of your saving graces, coming up to the Graviton as well, and the beat to try and survive Sony's Annihilation.
Yeah, the overtime now is procced up. Amp Matrix has come through. Grav is there, though. Karuma's going to get caught up. Annihilation has been procced, but everyone's falling down from Flexodiax. A huge play coming in from Twolls yet again for exclamation point Play.
Yeah, purely just staying alive in that second to last fight there was just huge from Twolls. Meant they were walking into that fight with 60% energy and 90% to grab. A great decision there from the tank line of Play. Now that they have this Moira, Karuma's going to have a harder time finding that backline. And of course, you're going to be able to build a Coalescence quite quickly, even in this new world of 20% DPS passive. Karuma, though, is coming up to the Pulse Bomb. It could threaten them.
Muse is going to go down early on, and that might just be the round going the way of Flexodiax as Panda finds Rod. Oh, sorry about that, but still, they're going to be able to come in They've got to be able to touch the point, and Panda's going to be the one to touch. There's the Deadeye coming through. The touch needs to come in. They've got there in the end. Still waiting it out. Keo can't find anyone. The damage is just going through. But still, it's not anyone's point quite just yet. But Twills is trying us. They will. They can't really do anything. And Flexodiax are able to hold on and take this first map of Lijiang Tower.
First map of Lijiang Tower. And as I understand it, the first map that Play has lost in CGL Season 13. So a lot of firsts here, but it just goes to show that Flexodiax is a team that warmed up in OWCS. That's something that you just can't counteract with if you haven't been there. That's a level of play that you're not used to playing against. I think Flexodiax have really taken in their stride the lessons that they've learned through their recent journey in the highest echelons of the esport, and now taking it to it's hard. I'm just gonna call them Play. I keep tripping over it every time. And they're called Play from now on, okay? It's lore, it's canon. Play came into this so confident because they should be. Look at their record. They absolutely should be confident, but now, will that confidence be shaken?
It's a good question. I mean, we haven't seen them be really tested in the CGL season so far. And again, I always like to say this is where champions are really built, where they come back from that adversity, when they come back from their losses, and that is a huge thing we'll have to see going into this next map, which is going to be hybrid, and to boot, it is going to be exclamation point Play's map choice. So that's a huge thing as well going into this.
Yeah, the map bans does mean you can try and swerve in a certain direction, but still ultimately Play will have the final choice of where we go. And yeah, you're absolutely right. This is where champions are made. Because what I always like to say, even in a situation where on paper one team should get absolutely taken out of the equation, stomped, you're dealing with 5 human beings on a certain day where they're waking up and they know that they're going to be in a finals situation, that they're going to be in a competition where it is win or lose, and that brings out something in everyone, and it brings out heart and brings out dedications. You can never say never to anybody, but Flexodiax, they're more than just heart, their skill, their determination, and they have the backing of some really great staff as well. So ultimately, Play need to be a little bit more aware that Flexodiax, they're gunning for that top spot.
Yeah, and right now they're definitely showing why they are, or at least we're able to make the top 16 of OWCS. Yeah, but now we head into Blizzard World, Geo, and we'll see how this works for them. I mean, again, we saw the Orisa come out from Sony, and I do like that, especially on the defense here. But again, I just prefer the Ramatra just in general. But we'll see how it works. I mean, the Orisa still is very good. You can take that high ground on that defense quite easily. And well, I mean, obviously you can take it easily on the defense, but that's neither here nor there. Well, we'll see how it works for them in the long run. If they can set up the Orisa, I like it. But if they're challenged yet again with the Zarya that we saw work pretty well from 12s, they've just got to be able to build up charge quicker and be able to beam down enemies a little bit faster.
Yeah, with Blizzard World, I certainly get the sense that we want to be playing the Doomfist. We want to probably have Keo back on the Echo that we initially started with. Probably play more of the game that we were wanting to start out with, but got forced off of just because of the way the control is. Compared to Hybrid, though, it's going to be a lot harder for Orisa to control the ground because there's a lot more to play with. If they're on the forward high ground, you can force point, push them off it, go to the back high ground. Orisa is going to get the biggest part of her weakness, which is that sometimes she's just kind of watching the fight go back and forth around her, and she doesn't have a lot of that output.
Yeah.
Where someone else, like a counter dive character like a Diva, if you're going for that, could have a little bit more movement. So these are the kind of conversation that Flexodiax is going to have with themselves, because they have to know that this Doomfist is what's going to come out here from Play.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. Like you said, Orisa's biggest weakness is that she's slowest or the second slowest hero in the game. I think it's
Hmm.
either between her and Roadhog. But again, and with the nature of how Overwatch is right now, speed is king. And we'll see. I mean, we're not even gonna have to worry about the Orisa right now, as
Yeah.
Flexodiax is going to currently be on the
Hmm.
offense, and they will look to be running the Ramatra at the moment.
Yeah, they got a lot of strides with that Ramatra against the Zarya. Of course, once Zarya's bubbles are out, those fists of fury that come flying from a Ramatra are just so strong in the brawl. I like this decision. The Sojourn, you can still get a lot of charge off Sojourn, but if you know they're going to play Zarya, you'll be building that charge while also building the charge of the Zarya. So you have to be very careful what you're doing as a Sojourn when you're building those railguns.
As Karoma is going to look to go into the back line here, but yeah, they are just going to be rotating around, trying to catch out someone from the back line, someone in general, as Flexodiax already going their way and staking their claim on the point. Ravenous Vortex is out, but the Beam is going to get Tricky down quite low. Still, nothing really doing from them quite just yet. They've got the Immortality Field out as Chaba's going to go down. The Pummel going to find Kyo out, and the point already being procced up by Flexodiax, and they might be able to keep things going their way. They still have an opportunity, this exclamation point play, if they can find out a player, anyone really, but they're losing time, and now they're going to have to try for a mad dash to the point, and they're going to lose Twirls, lose Panda, and that should be the point going to Flexodiax.
Yeah, when talking to Flexodiax before this match, they were talking about they've been working on ironing out their macro and improving their micro a bit. But that just goes to show how much they've done so, because that rotation around that point to force play into the position where they're the attacking team and they need to touch the point because it's being ticked away was a great decision from Flexodiax, and it's going to turn this around with 5 minutes in the time bank going to second point. They've already forced Twolz onto Ramatra, and at this point I have to imagine it's because Twolz just isn't as comfortable on the Ramatra, but Tricky finds Keo.
Yeah, Tricky finding Kyo out already is just going to be huge. And the Annihilation now has been built up. Muse is going to be able to find a lot of damage with the Pulse Bomb, but the Annihilation going to be procced up as well here by Sone, just forcing back this exclamation point play squad at the moment. Still trying to duel it out, but gonna drop down onto the low ground, getting more and more cart progress without really any contest coming through from exclamation point play. Finally gonna be dropping down and finally gonna be brawling it out near the cart as the pummels going back and forth, but the Tracer from Muse is gonna get a lot of damage onto Sone. Still waiting it out. Tricky with the overclock, trying to find a headshot, trying to find damage. Amp Matrix comes through, but Chaba is down and out, and that might just be it. Yeah, Flexodiax has another fight win in their back pocket.
Yeah, in this mirror, it's just showing so many, difference between these teams of how well they know this composition, and there's just a clear line in the sand. Flexodiax are so well positioned, and they have that. They have that keen idea of where they need to be and who they need to be pressuring at the right time. These pulse bombs as well going on to Sunny, that was a great choice by Muse. Almost took Sunny out, had to initiate that ult to just stay alive, because you see those Tracers always be going for those tanks to get that burst damage with the pulse.
As now Sone, the Annihilation though is going to come in from Twolz, but Twolz is so low and they really haven't found anyone. They find Rod in the end, but that's just not enough when you invest that ultimate here. As Risu is going to be able to find them out of that fight quickly afterwards, and well, Muse is still trying to stay alive, trying to get a pick, maybe an exit kill on the Tricky would be nice, but right now things are looking dire for exclamation point play.
Yeah, Muse needing to be pushed back there. Karuma just dominant on the angles yet again. Overclock comes out early from Kyo, look for those heads.
Yeah, looking for the heads from Q, looking for that overclock kill onto Sone, onto anyone really, but again, they just can't confirm a kill, and a lot of people are back low on play here, as they still waiting it out. The recall had to be invested, and Rod is going to be able to go down. Karuma very low as well, but the Annihilation procced up by Sone, forcing people back, going to be taking some people away from the point for the moment, and they've got a lot of people caught up in this tight little area. Panda has gone down, looking to take Twolz out as well as Kuruma, and that is just going to be that yet again. Muse is going to be able to take down Risu, but again, you're still liking these trades every single time for Flexodiax.
Yeah, they're just working out in their favor, and they've got 3 minutes 20 to roll this around the final corner. They've got Pulse Bomb ready to just burst down Twolz, and of course, with that overclock combining both of those, Twolz is just going to absolutely explode. Travis going to need to place his Matrix to basically just keep the tank alive, I think.
Yeah, we'll see here. As Flexodiax still has the ultimate advantage as well going into this. The overclock coming in from Tricky's already taken Kyo out of the fight. Another one bites the dust. Muse is going to be able to turn it back. However, but again, there's just it might just be a consolation prize in the grand scheme of things as Kuruma finds Chaba with a pulse bomb kill, and no one's going to get the pick no one's going to be able to touch in the end, as Flexodiax completes all 3 points here.
I was told prior to this match that Kuruma only showers twice a week, but you know what that is? It's because they're not washed. They're looking very, very nice here on the Tracer. That Pulse Bomb, they first of all forced that Immortality Field. As soon as that came out, it was over. Got the Pulse Bomb, and that meant there was no recontest available. 2 minutes 41 on the bank in Blizzard World. Play are getting absolutely pushed into the corner right now, and it's something that they haven't experienced in CGL this season. So we're going to really see what happens to this team when they get tested and when they feel a potential loss looming. But as their map, and we talked about potentially why they brought us to this map with the Doomfist dive, but so far there's not hovering that Doomfist. Looks like they are hovering the Ramantra, and it's not really working for them in that mirror. I think there's not enough pressure on the angles here. I think maybe a little bit more resources to be invested into Muse could help Muse win out those duels with Kuruma and start to get a little bit more space for themselves. And I like the idea of going for Kiriko. Never mind. I like the idea of going for Moira also, because you can stay alive against Kuruma. Although that does give Muse a little less to work with in terms of support.
I really like the Moira right now. I mean, it just gives so much more ability. It's a weird thing to say for Moira because it's not really an abilities-heavy character. But the Fade is probably the best ultimate or best ability in the game right now. Maybe not, because Chapa gets found out quickly by Risu, and that is just gonna be a collapse coming in onto exclamation point play as they tried to rotate up the high ground.
I don't know how many times I can say the same thing. Kuruma is being uncontested on so many of these angles, and they just went in and completely 180 pincered them. It's why Chaba forced Fade so early in a situation where Fade is one of the better abilities, but once it's used, it's the biggest win condition in the world for a Tracer, because you become a big fat juicy steak in their eyes.
Yeah, this is looking kind of rough for him, but Flexodiax did give away the high ground for the moment as Kuruma now in the back here, looking to duel it out perhaps with Muse on the Tracer, but nothing really coming in for either of them quite just yet, but going out. Taking Rod out is huge and looking to find more. Sone very low, but you know, the recall has to come through. Muse is going to still look for a pick, but they're very low. But Tricky is going to be the one to go down. Now Sone quickly afterwards, and this should be the point taken by exclamation point play.
Yeah, finding Raisu there at the end of the exclamation mark in the play. Muse as well finding Kuruma, a little bit of a confidence gainer for them perhaps, as they head into second point. Still with a decent time bank, not as high as Flexodiax had, but still you've got a good position to keep this ball rolling, start to get good time banks, and maybe potentially have a similar time bank in the end of the map. You do have the Coalescence, you can sustain yourself with it, but also it's a brilliant ultimate to go on the aggressive nature and push past this upcoming amp matrix.
Yeah, they're going to push past here. Risu's already popped in the Amp Matrix for the fight. Sound Barrier coming in from Rod as well. They want to win it here and now to get their defense started. Both Annihilations have been procced, but the upper hand goes in the way of Flexodiax here. As Karuma and Tricky take out Muse.
I don't know about the idea of holding on to the Coalescence. I would have said maybe they want to just lose that fight and go next, but they did invest two other ultimates with the Overclock and the Annihilation. Maybe just a little bit failing to adapt to what's happening. The Overclock is out for Tricky right now. They're in their spawn.
Yeah, they were indeed in their spawn and didn't really find any value with it. They did buy time, which is nice, but I think you'd rather take the picks than the time. But Twirls is going to be separated out, and Chaba's been found out already by Rod with a boot. Would seem they're still waiting it out, and they're having to use the Sound Barrier early on to get out of their spawn area, which is massive for Flexodiax, who are just trying to build up ultimates themselves here. As Muse is going to be finally able to get the one up onto Karuma. And, well, it might be finally the time for play to break out of this hold of the archway as players keep falling down on their side.
Yeah, a bit of a scrappy one, a weird extended fight there that we went from one team spawn back to the point, but finally play have a lot upcoming in this next fight as well. You've got the Pulse Bomb to force out Sonny, who's going to need to build this Annihilation nice quickly to keep themselves alive against that pressure. And on the other end of things as well, you don't have the Coalescence, you don't have any support ults for play, where both are ready for Flexodiax, so Flexodiax should really have this one in the bag.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. Nice getting that Sound Barrier out from Panda in that beginning of the fight last. Now they can use this Annihilation and take Panda out of the fight. Pulse Bomb is going to be used, but Muse is going to go down. Annihilation not going to find anything more, but still, things are looking good for Flexodiax. As 12 has built up to their own Annihilation here if they want to use it, and they do. And that's going to go in. They're going to find a lot of damage, but nothing really going their way. They're not able to find any follow-up as Tolls goes down to Rod and Sone. And that is going to be the defense started up yet again for Flexodiax.
Yeah, there was a lot of neutral pressure coming out from play, trying to get those support ultimates out before utilizing the ultimates, and that just goes to show that, you know, ultimates have power even when you're not pressing the Q button. Just the mere presence of them being on the board can change how your opponents play here, but the Overclock coming out nonetheless.
Muse is so low, gonna be able to get that health back though. Stay alive for the moment, but the Overclock not gonna find anything from Q, as that is going to be a nice Amp Matrix coming in from Risu to hold on yet again for Flexodiax.
Flexodiax, they're doing very well on the second point and just keeping the team of play, you know, playing into disadvantages, playing into the strengths of Flexodiax, you know, building this railgun pre-fight. Oh, Karuma finding moves, that's huge. But Reisu going down could open something here.
It really could, and it seems to be the case as Pandas found Karuma out as well, as Wolves now making their way onto the point, looking to, well, keep things going their way, and it is, because Tricky's now found out, and well, it is going to be that. There's still probably a chance, though. There's definitely a last-second contest from Flexodiac, though.
30 seconds. This could be the final fight here of the second map, especially if Tricky can find a good overclock. Beat will be ready from Panda, though, same as Coalescence right now. Play, they need to be winning this one out.
And Chava finds Rod out with the Coalescence, but Panda's traded back immediately, though. Still, it seems like exclamation point play are going to be able to have a new lease on life. A minute and 33 seconds on from point number 3, but they're definitely not capturing with time on the board.
Yeah, to capture time on the board here, I don't even know if it's physically possible, never mind if you'll be able to beat out Flexodiax without them touching the payload at all. You are going to have the Annihilation to keep yourself alive here, same as B. You've got a very sustainable fight coming up for play, but it's against both the Pulse and the Overclock, which are both ready to come out.
Yeah, it's now the Overclock coming in from Tricky is going to chunk in a lot of damage, but Karama finding out that Tracer duel yet again into their favor, and Sone just forcing everyone back, and Trolls is going to use their Annihilation as well in this fight. Oh my goodness, they're not going to be able to find any damage with it, and that is huge. That is a great initiator, but in response, Kyo with the overclock of their own has found one, looking for another one. Not going to be able to find another one with the overclock, but the damage has been done, and exclamation point play are looking really good now, but 20 seconds remaining.
Some instincts may tell you that, oh, maybe that was not a good annihilation there by Trolls right outside their own spawn, but no, that kept the momentum in their side, flipped it for Kyo to get that overclock, and they could push right in. Now, it's going to be the final fight. As the seconds count down, Coalescence is going to come out here, but the beat from Rod might just keep Flexodiax in the defense here.
Yeah, that is going to be huge. Having that sound barrier is massive, and it's going to come online at the perfect time. Now, Sone can get a little bit more aggro, but the Coalescence is still going to be doing good work, and Panda has found out Rod. Kyo found out another one. There's still a chance for exclamation point play to capture the point, and they are indeed going to do so. But it's now a very, very tough ask going into this defensive phase.
Yes, you don't have a win condition, you've got a draw condition, but that will keep you from being in a match point position. Flexodiax have 2 minutes 41 though to get a single tick on first point, and we saw how good they were at playing around that point and forcing play out. Now, I do have the idea here that Twos probably won't come out on the Zarya like they did in their first initial defense. So probably start on the Ramatra this time, and that will give Flexodiax a little bit harder of a time pushing and forcing them away from that point, and could extend those fights longer than we saw in the first attack, which will be very good for the defense because it's all about burning the time. You want to burn the time as much as possible away from Flexodiax, get that draw, and go to the next map where, because it's a draw, you'll still be able to choose the next map if you are play. So there's still a lot of benefit here for play to hold in here, but it's not an easy task.
Yeah, it's now we're gonna have to see if they can figure it out. Like you said, if they tie it, play still gets the map choice. They get the map choice either way, really, in this. But you would much prefer going into this next map 1-0 against, and then 2-0 with your backs fully against the wall. But we'll see how they can deal with this attacking phase from Flexodiax. Yet again, the rotation coming in from Tricky, looking to go up onto the high ground, or at least just take people away, but Risu's already been found out by a skill orb. Yeah, that might... Wait, maybe not. Panda is just going to go down. Sone going to use the primal, or not the... Oh my goodness, the pummel, and find picks going their way. And well, in the meanwhile, while the fight is just happening, Flexodiax was, in fact, procking the point and going to take the point in the end. And that is going to be map number 2 going their way.
Yeah, and there was the game plan. All 4 of Flexodiax went in, missing their Tracer, who went to the point, was initially forced out by Muse, but once that fight started to not go their way, Muse didn't have that extra support and couldn't keep that point alight. Flexodiax, they played that really well. They know how much trust they can have in Kurama on that Tracer. They know how much trust they can have to be able to force a core fight and have Kurama in a situation where they really didn't have that much support from their team to do that flank, but it still worked out in the end. Flexodiax are coming into this one making a statement, saying that not only were we in OWCS, but we used every single moment in that to soak up all the knowledge. Because if you're facing, you know, the highest echelons of the players, professional athletes in Overwatch, you're going to pick stuff up. You're going to be able to get amazing knowledge off of those games. Flexodiax, they've proven that they're a team that can improve tenfold in only a matter of weeks. So this is really exciting for them.
It really is. We are going to be headed into a break. This is a do or die break for exclamation point play. They've got to figure it out here and now, or they're going to be losing the mid-season finals to Flexodiax. We're going to go stick around. You're not going to want to miss the conclusion of this series right after this.
inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Lots of love. Lots of love. Lots of love. Love. Lots of love. Love. Lots of love. Love. Lots of love. Love.
All right, everyone, we are back and ready to head into map number 3. Again, this is all on the line for exclamation point play, who was decidedly the #1 team going into this this midseason playoffs. But now they have their backs against the walls. It is Flexodiax up 2-0, headed into Suravasa. This is a perfect perfect map to change the tide of everything, though, here, if you are exclamation point play.
Yeah, you've had a break. You've had some time to really, group up as a team in a situation that you haven't been in CGL. This is the first time that exclamation mark play have been in the corner, but that just means you don't know what's going to come next. You don't know what's going to come out of the side of play. I genuinely, you can't predict this still. I know it's match point, but you still can't predict it. There could be a reverse sweep very easily from this team. And like you said, Suravasa and Flashpoint alone is a perfect mode to be able to pivot off of.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially with the way it is played, it's just all about speed. It's all about getting to the point first and winning that first fight, because I believe I don't actually know the whole stats, but I believe it's a good portion of people who capture the first flashpoint wins that flashpoint. So I mean, it's really good to start set themselves up for a good run on this map here and now with a first point victory.
And it could all be down to this. Can Flexodiax 3-0 the 3-0 team? Or is it time for play to step on the gas themselves? Well, not the gas because we're in EU. Step on the pedal, we'll say, themselves and get themselves in control of this point. Now, again, we see Chaba on the Moira compared to Risu on the Baptiste. Means the Baptiste is more vulnerable to flanks, but again, Flexodiax has shown such good control of the flanks. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Gio's going to be able to find out tricky, and, well, Kuruma goes down as well. And this is going to be really good for exclamation point play. Going with this Moira rush, they're just going to be able to be so much quicker in these engages than Flexodiax is while they stay on this Orisa.
Yeah, you know what? If you're able to find the great walls, then you're going to be able to get amazing value out of this Mei. However, once Kuruma starts going on those wild angles and starts poking you from behind, it's going to be a lot tougher unless Muse can land the icicles as well, which, to be fair, is absolutely possible in these fights, as they're starting very forward here, trying to bait them into going into this choke.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be nice, but a nice Javelin Swing gets people separated for a moment, but the Mei wall going to be invested here to split them off. A Javelin throw going to be connecting, I believe, but no one going down just yet. But they now are going to have to go in, and the nice Mei wall coming in yet again, separating out Sone, but they are going to be able to break it down, but a shot comes through, and Risu is out of the fight. Yeah, this might just have to be a wash of a first point, and you have to change things up if you're Flexodiax.
They've already swapped to the Orisa, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I think you can still be very survivable as a matchup with the Nemesis form block while your team gets rid of that wall. I can understand going for the Orisa as well, because you have some extra tools as well to deal with it. But already, play has forced Flexodiax into a position where they didn't want to be in. We know that they can play the Orisa, but again, we've talked about the issues with Orisa. You know, very low impact on the overall fight if you're able to go around them, especially when you have such a good Sojourn player, like on the side of play, Kyo has the overclock.
Yeah, the overclock is available as well as this Blizzard, and it's going to be able to get massive... Oh, never mind. Sone is going to be able to take him down. Terra Surge comes through as well. Coalescence in response from Chamba, but they've... Oh, Rod yet again finding him off the side of the map. A huge play coming in from Flexodiax as they are able to take first control of Palace.
Yeah, Rod's someone that I don't feel like we've talked about enough. A very strong player. Both themselves and Kuruma, of course, were on Team Portugal in the World Cup, so they have that synergy together. And I don't know how Muse died there, if I'm being honest. I think Ice Block was available as well. Just got a little surprised there by the amount of damage coming out. But they've got all these ultimates to position themselves. Both support ults ready from Flexodiax though.
Yeah, as Kurama is going to be able to find Panda out, and that just might buy even more time. Blizzard's still available. You're not going to invest it now, as you've lost everyone on the side of exclamation point play. Team kill coming through.
You'd think, you know, on paper, Play's comp would do better in a narrow space like that, with the Mei being able to split things up and the Moira getting good amount of output on the healing, but there's so much damage spam coming through, especially with the Baptiste and the Orisa combined, that they're just being forced to use resources like the Ice Block super early.
Yes, Kyo going to be invested the overclock. There comes the sound barrier as well from exclamation point play to try to turn the tide of this, but nothing doing quite just yet with the sound barrier, and Amp Matrix coming in from Flexodiax. Still waiting it out, and Kurama is going to go down. Blizzard are going to be invested by Muse here as well, but the trades keep coming through. No one has the upper hand quite just yet in the Terra Surge. Invested there by Sane, but Sane is so low. Can Kyo find them out? The healing is there from exclamation point play, but they need to find the damage as well as the Coalescence comes in at the perfect time from Chaba.
Perfect time to keep the fight going, but the fact that that got forced is a very tough spot for Play, because they've got absolutely nada here in terms of ultimates to keep on to the point. Now, Flexodiax don't have a whole lot themselves. They'll very quickly get this Hat Matrix, though, and the Pulse. If you combine this Pulse with a lot of spam damage onto Twals, then it's going to be a tough spot. You could even force Ice Block again, which we've seen they're very keen to do, and then get a Pulse onto the Mei. There's no Suzu or anything to defend against it.
Yeah, wall did come out from Muse as Chaba finds Kurama out. It's huge, massive even for exclamation point play. Now they don't have to deal with that pulse bomb for a little bit longer. Risu is very close to the amp matrix, however, though. That could be invested early on to get into this fight, but we'll see. The wall's going to come out. There's the amp matrix out, but Risu's taken down to a shot by the dome from Kyo. And that should be that round number 2, flashpoint number 2, going the way of play.
Yeah, I think Flexodiax got a little lost in the sauce there. Coming back onto that point, you only had about one proper team fight, which is super long and extended. You kept that poke stage up when you lost your Tracer. Should have backed up, should have regrouped, come back into it. You had the time to do it, but now play are in a map point situation where they're about to kick off the potential reverse sweep that we've been talking about being possible, especially with the fact that they've got both support ults coming up and a lot on their plate because they didn't need to invest really anything to defend that point.
Yes, now the point is going to be propped up by Flexodiax for a moment, but Chaba is going to be investing the Coalescence early on, but Muse is going to get caught out by Tricky, but traded back. Soundbear going in, getting Flexodiax at a little bit of advantage, but not any longer with the Terra Surge coming in, taking Kyo out. There's still a chance. Sone very low at the moment, forcing people away, forcing people back. The point going into the favor of Flexodiax for the moment, but they've got to be able to confirm some more kills because there's still a lot of people left, especially since the Annihilation has now been built up by Twolz. That could be invested here and now, and it is in fact going to do so. Twolz is going to get caught out by the Javelin Spear, but still nothing going. It's Blizzard comes in as well. They'll probably wrap things up for exclamation point play. Still have not flipped it over back into their favors. Trekkie pops the overclock, finds out Chaba. It still looks like play might have the upper hand, but they've got to deal with a couple of the remaining players as Kyo finds Trekkie, but still it looks like Flexodiax are going to be hold on for the moment.
Incredible fight here from Flexodiax to pull out all these resources and still have control of the point is such a high task. You are going to have the Amp Matrix as well to keep Sony alive. Chaba already forced Fade. If Kuruma can find them now, they can really secure this point.
They really can. And a nice spear coming in from Sone. If they do find Rod out of the fight, Kyo is down, though. That is a huge boon for Flexodiax. There's so much damage now not on the field. Twolz can find or change the whole tide of this with a pummel or two, and Risu is down, looking for more. They're going to be able to take down Tricky as exclamation point play, come back strong and take the point.
Yeah, I think there was some key pivotal moments maybe missed in the comms or didn't quite get spotted there, like Chaba being forced to fade early. Flexodiax, though, they can't get caught up again. They can't get caught up in this kind of cycle of just poking if they lose someone. Kuruma needs to be a lot more careful when they're sneaking back there, looking for that pulse bomb, but also you've got a Terra Surge here to push in, try and get someone caught out of position with it.
Yeah, let's see now. Sone's found Kyo out. It's a huge play yet again for Flexodiax. They've got to be able to find more. They've got to turn the tide back into their favor. And, well, who better to do so than Tricky find it, too? The sound bearing being invested to really solidify this third flashpoint and get themselves on the board on Saravasa.
Yeah, brilliant fight there. They knew that they could pincer in with the Orisa and Kuruma on the Tracer there. Nice choice. They didn't need to invest the Terra Surge either, so you have that moving forward. They're still in map point though, so they do need to be very careful how they invest going forward, especially if play coming up to a lot of their win condition ultimates here in this fight.
Yeah, the Terra Surge coming in from Sone. Not going to find any kills, but damage has been found. Overclock there as well from Tricky. Not going to be able to find anything. But again, Muse is out of this fight already. Thanks to Kuruma, who's just been another beast on that Tracer so far. And Flexodiax have already got control of point number 4 here on Flashpoint. And they might be able to start things up, and they're ticking it up in their favor.
Good control. They need to be very careful how they're investing this amp. They've got so much to come up against as well in terms of this blizzard and overclock. Karama in a lot of potential trouble here.
Yeah, Sony is going to get caught out. Looks like, maybe not. Muse is going to be the one to go down by Rod. Yeah, again, just looking so good on this Lucio. And Sony's still alive. They are going to lose the point for a moment, and Rod is going to go down. Risu as well gets caught up. As now should be the point sticking the way of exclamation point play for the moment.
Yeah, so I think you need to be a little bit quicker in getting out of the fight as well if you're Flexodiax, because once they got the point in control, you know, it was a risk to push that, because now it's going to be 50% by the time you get back for this next fight. You are going to have the beat. You can push in with Rod's beat, but again, that's going to be matched. Play don't have a lot of teeth in the ultimates they have, to be fair. So you've got a lot of neutral game here to play with in the poke to try and build Tricky into this overclock position to try and take this point so that they don't start to equalize this series.
Wolves is take down Karama as well. It's not what you wanted to see. The Terror Surge, though, is going to take Panda out, and they might be able to find Chaba as well. Sound Barrier invested by Flexodiax. They are able to take the point back, and they're about to take Twills out down to spawn as well. As now, maybe what? Keo fights two! Oh my goodness, this is all looking disastrous for Flexodia now. They were hoping to win this out. The Sound Barrier comes in from Panda as well. This might just be the map victory that they were looking for. Twills is back on the Doomfist. Tricky has gone down to the Pulse Bomb, and it's up 97, 98, 99, 100. It's the map win for exclamation point play, and now they can start their chance for a reverse sweep.
And it's certified. We have a banger. It's 1-2 in the series now, as Play has put Flexodiax on notice. Is this the pivotal moment that Play need? Can they build off of this and start to get the reverse sweep and claim their space as they have before throughout the rest of the season as the premier #1 team in this division? I'm liking the energy out here. I like playing the Mei here. Change it up and force Flexodiax into a situation where they're playing the Orisa. It's not really the optimal situation for them to be in, and it also creates a lot of danger for the Tracer, because every time you're diving that as a Tracer or trying to force stuff out as a Tracer, you're punching a bee's nest. There could be a stray icicle and a rail gun. You don't know what's going to come out of the team, and you can get squashed very easily, and we saw that happen in a few fights.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see here. I was really shocked that Flexodiax decided to stick with that Orisa the entire round of Flashpoint. And I agree with you there. I mean, it wasn't the optimal comp, and it showed in the end. Exclamation point play were able to take that map. Now we've got to figure out, are they going to stick on this Orisa, or are they going to make changes? Because again, you've lost your first map, and now you've let you have that lingering of doubt. You have that thought that this could be a reverse sweep on your hands. How does Flexodiax come back into this with their map choice of push?
Yeah, not a lot of options with push. If you're thinking, what are they gonna come into? You want to avoid, for example, Colosseo, because that's going to play into playing a Mei, very narrow corridor at the start of that map. Going for Esperanza, which is a choice, is a very good decision here. Mei's going to be a lot tougher to get good value out of. So they're kind of raising the stakes. They say, we saw you play the Mei card. Here's Esperanza. Not going to be the best situation to play the Mei. However, you can still bring it out to try and force something out of Flexodiax. Basically, the stakes have been raised. Can Flexodiax meet those stakes? Can they meet that and hit them back? Because the Orisa swap wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to change against that Mei. So how the team adapts to what a player going to be bringing at them on Esperanza is going to be a big factor in whether we see a map 5 or not.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see how this is brought out by both of these two squads. I haven't really been privy to Esperanza in a while. I feel like it's always been either that New Queen Street or Coliseo quite recently. And I feel that just because of the way Overwatch is at the moment. But I mean, we'll have to see. I expect to be probably going back over to the Ramatra for both of these two squads. The Orisa is just not. Or the Orisa just was not the play on. Suravasa there.
There's a chance that you could also see Junker Queen come out. I know we haven't yet seen that, but Esperanza is a really good Queen map, and for a lot of reasons, Queen is getting a lot of play. One of them just being that you have that extra shout, you can defend against a 3-2-1 dive, and you also have a lot of output as well. Self-healing is also very important for a lot of tanks right now, because you have 20% less healing from your support, so a little bit of self-healing goes a long way. The problem with Queen is that she doesn't have a whole lot of damage mitigation outside of that shout. Once that shout's out, she's a massive target. She can't do a whole lot to stop damage coming onto her, where Ramatra's got both the shield and the block in the Nemesis form and the ult as well. It's why he gets a lot more play in terms of being more survivable. But Queen could be something that if you play a very quick moving, close range Queen composition, bring out a Kiri as well, even bring out a Reaper. We saw Reaper come out today in OWCS. Yes. You have the Kitsune Rush and a Reaper. That's an insane amount of damage mid-fight into a brawl. That could be a shock and horror comp that really gets a shock win here in Esperanza.
Yeah, that was... I tuned in right as that the Kitsune Rush Reaper started, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's just crazy to see the Hellfire shotguns just go that quickly. That amount of damage that can come out. But oh my goodness, they're sticking to their guns for at least the moment here, Geo.
You're playing the cast here, and Tricky got a lot done on the cast, especially on Lijiang Tower. Did very well at controlling the lanes of flanks that Muse wanted to go on. So that's perhaps the idea here, kind of bring that Lijiang energy that they had. And I do want to remind you, Joker, they did 100% to 0 Lijiang Gardens with this composition. However, it was not against Ramatra. It was against Zarya, and it was against Doomfist. How can this comp work against the Ramatra? They need to be very good at poking out and forcing these resources out of Twals.
Yeah, definitely. It is going to be a little bit difficult. Again, they still have this Moira, which can just make things so much quicker for exclamation point play, as the duel is going to come in between Theo and Kurama in the backs. But Theo's going to go down there as a Sone. That is going to be the first fight going the way of Flexodiax.
Even if you miss that nade, which I do want to put on the record, it does have a bit of homing mechanism, but you can very easily miss that nade. Even when you do miss it, a headshot with a cast right now is easier to hit because of the whole hitbox changes to all the projectiles. The cast is in a very good spot right now as an anti-tracer that a lot of teams are using to really just give their own tracer that edge. Kyo isn't able to do that from Muse on Sojourn.
Yeah, as right now the fight is breaking out, and Falls has already had to proc Nemesis, and well, it helps them take down Sone and perhaps get the bot into their favor now with Kurama being found out by Chaba. And they are still going to try to fight it out, but exclamation point play are going to be able to get this bot going their way now.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know, sometimes you end up just being a bit of a face sponge if you're an Orisa, and if you get into that situation, you know, even if they are playing the Sojourn, they're going to get railgun off of that. They're going to have a constant railgun. You only have the javelins to stop that. You know, you don't have a shield to dampen it, so that means Kyo's just going to find headshots like that.
As Kurama is already out, Terra Surge coming through, but Sane is so low. Gonna get the healing though from Risu at the moment, but now the exclamation point player just gonna be trying to chase down Sone with the Coalescence being invested. The trades just keep going back and forth, and with the Ant Matrix in the midst of it all, Annihilation gonna be popped as well, but that might just not be what you're hoping for, because Sone is gonna go down. But in the means, exclamation point player very close to getting those forward spawns, but that's not gonna matter for the time being, as Flexodiax takes the bot and they're to their favor.
Yeah, the mental game being played there by the supports as well. Chapa coming out to Coalescence, but Risu with a perfectly placed Amp Matrix as well to counteract it. Once that Fade came out, saw Chapa get hit with a damage-boosted Javelin pinned to the wall, looking like some clothing needing to be dried out. Keo does have Overclock still, though, to try and dominate this fight. Ricky can try and persuade that away with the High Noon, though.
Yes, Keo is going to find out one. Now Twoll's going to get in the kill feed as well. Another one bites the dust. A shot coming through. Oh my goodness, Keo finding 3. And that is just going to swiftly allow play to take back the bot.
Yeah, lovely overclock. Controlled the fight. Tricky wasn't in position to try and nullify it with a High Noon. If they were, they would have just got taken out anyway, I believe. They are going to have Terra Surge as well to help themselves out here, but I do think the fourth one's going to come out. Karuma can only stall for so long.
Yeah, definitely is. The Deadeye is going to come in from Tricky and almost got it. Just able to stay out of the sights for a little bit long enough was Twolls and company. Though, however, they are still waiting it out, still not having anything, and jumping up like Batman from the ceiling. Twolls comes in onto the supports, and Tricky as well. Oh my goodness, Sone is going to be able to trade it back, takes them down, but they might, yeah, they're going to pay for it with their lives. The Tracer duel goes in the favor of Kurama, but it's still exclamation point play, finding everything necessary.
Yeah, that's one thing about the Baptiste, right? You don't have a Fade, you don't have survivability outside of an Immortality field. As soon as it comes out, like you said, Batman in the night just going to come down and take you out like you're some just grunt in the street of Gotham. Forward spawn unlocked here for play. They're in the driver's position right now. Not too far away from Flexodiax being able to bring themselves back into this one. The game is not set and matched yet. But that Coalescence is going to be a big factor for play to be able to sustain and push themselves forward and keep a hold of this forward spawn. It's the beat from Rod that can keep Flex in it, though.
Yeah, the Terra Surge is going to come in, and yeah, like you said, it's only 18 meters between these two, and Sone finding out Keo is huge as well. There's the Coalescence invested with the, after being the Sound Bearer invested by Rod as well, so it's still anyone's point. Looks like exclamation point play. No, maybe not with Panda Ajaxing their beat. This is huge for Flexodiax to keep things going. Twolls does have the Annihilation and are able to proc it up for a while, but again, no one goes down to it. But Risu gonna be caught out in the end, but so is Twolls. Sone able to get them out, but still, play have the advantage in this fight with the picks going their way. Keo wasn't able to find anything really with that overclock, but they still keep the bot going their way and finding more and more progress, but not able to take out Keo. Still could allow Flexodiax to keep things going somewhat their way, or at least stopping play from getting more progress, but that's just not the case now.
Yeah, a lot of Flexodiax win condition relied on Rod getting a good beat. Unfortunately, I don't think Tricky got the beat. That's why they got forced out in the start of that very long extended fight. And at that point, they were fighting 4v5. Couldn't really get into it. Tricky came back and immediately got taken out by Keo again. So it's been an unfortunate run for Tricky in these past two fights.
Yeah, Twolls is going to get caught out and taken down by Tricky and pretty much everyone on the roster of Flexodiax there. Chaba going down as well, and that's just going to be a wash going quickly to the way of Flexodiax.
Yeah, and they're going to have another fight here to push and try and get their forward spawn, but if they're able to win this out, which they do have some ultimates to do so with the High Noon still Tricky, been holding on to it for a while, it can be very good to utilize it on the high ground and clear that room for the capture, but of course with that Coalescence, you can sustain yourself after that and win that fight, or just push on to Tricky while they're doing this. Oh, that was risky.
It was indeed. Able to just blink away was Muse before they could collect that dead eye, as Chaba has the Coalescence on the point, getting a lot of that healing, and Sone is going to go down there and now trying to hold on to this with the Sound Bearer being invested by Rod, but it might not be enough, but hey, Tricky's able to find out Keo. If they can find another one, and they do, Panda goes down, and this could be Flexodiax finally getting some good progress with the bot here, unless, well, Tricky goes down, and it might be the case that the Immortality Field is going to save Tricky for a moment, but they go away for that time being, but still, anyone's point, and with Sone coming back from Spawn, the Pulse Bomb is out as well, but Kurama is found out by Chaba. Still, anyone's point. This is just a dogfight under this bridge, but it might just be exclamation point play having the advantage here.
They've got the overclock. While the amp matrix does come out, they can kite that while it's up, then go for this overclock. There's a lot of win conditions here for play. There's a lot of win conditions for them to bring it all the way to the end of the time bank. So if they play this well, they can really secure themselves with good position.
Yeah, they definitely could, as Trolls has found out Risu here. It's a huge play indeed. Kyo is going to get traded out, though. Both tanks are trying their best. They're trying their hardest, but the Annihilation now might just seal the deal in the favor of exclamation point play. It is going to be the case. Everyone just getting caught out by it, and that is huge play of the bot back in their favor with 1:20 to go.
Gonna be real tough now for Flexodiax to get this one under control and to try and win out this series, win out this mid-season finals here on Esperanza. They've got 1 minute to push into a Coalescence, a beat, a Pulse Bomb. They are slowly building up to their own, but if they lose this fight, it's going to be so tough to bring it back. They'll need to win 3 fights in a row, almost.
Muse and Kurama just battling it out, looking for a pick. There's the pick, Durad. Trade comes back. No Sound Barrier available. Terra Surge onto the point, though. Not going to be able to find out. Twolz does go down in the end, though, with the follow-up damage from Sone. That could just be it, what they were looking for. As Flexodiax are going to be able to get their bot back into their favor for the time being. But they still have 26 seconds to go and almost 50 meters to push it.
Yeah, it's going to be in overtime. They're going to initially be up against this first fight without forward spawns. And then the overtime spawns as well. That's going to be tough. If they can get the forward spawns, though, they'll be in a much better position. Kuruma needs to come up with some magic here on the Pulse Bomb. Needs to really be that star player for their team here.
Kurama could be the difference maker with this Pulse Bomb. Rushes up from Risu as well. Pulse Bomb is out, but Kurama's the one to go down. Rush is available. Sound Barrier is available. Coming in. Both of the beats have been used, but Tricky has been found out. This might just be the map number 5 we were looking for. Kyo has been found out, though. The overtime bar ticks away. No one's on point, Kyo. No!
They got forced.
They got forced off, and, well, exclamation point play, force a map number 5.
Outstanding. I mean, play, we talked about it. They're a team out of all teams. They're a team that can bring it into a reverse sweep situation, and that's where we're at against an OWCS caliber team who've been playing in OWCS 2. They've won 2 maps in a row and potentially will secure a reverse sweep in a mid-season finals against them. That just goes to show that while play themselves might not have been in OWCS, their players, their roster, their dedication to this esport could get them there. We could very well see this team play in OWCS soon enough, but right now it's all about this mid-season finals, and I think the teams have almost forgotten about the points that they can win. I think it's all about just beating the other team right now. It's a lot about making a statement before the grand finals later in this season, and boy, has this become a slobber knocker of a match, an absolute barn burner here between these two teams.
What?
Not heard that before? Slobber knocker?
No, I've never heard that before, Gio. And now I'm going to be laughing as we head to a break before our 5th and final map of the series. Do not go anywhere. The conclusion of this is surely going to be a banger.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
All right, everyone, it is time. If you haven't been with us, where the heck have you been, first and foremost? Because this has been a banger of a series. And while this is the ultimate map, the final map, the last one to crown who will be the champions of the mid-season tournament. As we're taking a look at the next map, which is going to be Shambhala Monastery. But if we rewind the clock here and take a look at the maps we've had so far. Flexodiax were kind of in the driver. Well, they were in the driver's seat for the first 2 maps, but then Saravasa came around, and well, everything has gone the way of exclamation point play since then.
Yeah, ever since that ever since that first break, play has been on absolute tear, making Sorvasa and Esperanza look like it was just putty in their hands. And it just goes to show that against an OWCS level caliber team, they are still they can still bring that dominance that they've shown throughout CGL. And to be in a PC open tier here in the EU, it just goes to show that these players are some of the premier tier 2 and potentially tier 1 players in the region. So it's an amazing matchup that we've seen here, and I'm sure no matter how this ends, it's going to be explosive, and we will get a good feel, I think we already have, about how the grand finals of this division is going to shape out.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see if this is what the grand finals will show us. But again, Shambhali Monastery is where it is all on the line to fight it out. And what better of a place to end it out with how Ramatra is so prevalent in this game so far to end it on the map that, well, came out with Ramatra.
Yes, the story has really been Ramatra against Orisa, which I am a little bit surprised about. I have seen a lot of Orisa get played. I'm not the biggest fan of the character in the current meta, and we've already seen play be able to play around Sony on the Orisa a lot and basically just make them look like they don't have a lot of control over the match. Now though, Flexodiax in their attack spawn, flickering over the Reaper, and we've talked about the Reaper previously. We saw it earlier today on the big stage, and while it's not currently paired with a Kiriko for that Kitsune Rush, it's still a strong brawl character that once you get into that mashed potatoes situation as a brawl team against a brawl team, you have a lot of output. Against now though Muse, who is on the Mei. This Mei really split up Servasa, really threw Flexodiax for a loop, and they couldn't really find a good way of playing around it. They have to be very careful here how they rotate and play around being split off by the wall, and that they're not building the railgun also from Kyo, who can sit there, build the railgun, and find someone's head and take it clean off their soldiers.
It's such a cool skin that Risu has on Moira. No, that was Moira skin. That's sick. But right now, I mean, they're trying to build it out. Sony is so low, though. They're going to have to go into this tea house for the moment to just get that healing and rotate around. I also like this Reaper in effect that they are playing Mei against them. In the Mei, the Reaper can really help break down those walls and keep their team together. But right now, it's not really working out, and the payload is just as good at breaking Mei walls as anything. As Tricky is still trying to find a pick. Still, both of these two teams looking for that pick to go their way. And wow, a nice icicle to the dome from Muse. And well, the Reaper is no longer going to be a problem for now. But still, there's a chance to turn it back as Chaba is found out. Rod finds another one, and now the Coalescence being invested as well as the Annihilation allows Flexodiax to take this first point.
Yes, and Risu skin is actually the Battle Pass Mythic skin available now in the Overwatch 2 shop. Support your local devs today. Yeah, Flexodiax, they were able to just walk over Muse. Muse had to use those walls defensively, and the only offense being those really keen shots of those icicles. They do have the Blizzard now, and there's not a whole lot that can be done from Flexodiax to stop that getting its value.
Well, there's the Coalescence coming in from Chaba in response, as well as the Blizzard, and that could be, yeah, it is going to be all they need. The Sound Barrier was invested as well, though, from Panda. Again, it is just going to be a lot of things just to sustain through as Muse. Yeah, you like that shot yet again. But Play is going to be able to start their defense on point 2 now.
Yeah, and it's a lot tougher now to push into a Mei because you've got two choices, and they're both narrow chokes. That if you get split up with the wall, it's enough time for something like an overclock to get popped and just burst you down. Chaba has also matched the Moira and has worked much better for them so far. Risu is coming up to Coalescence though.
Overclock coming in from Keo, almost finding out Rod there, and well, Rod is gonna go down to 12's pummels, but is gonna get found out as well. And, ooh, almost finding Kurama out, but Panda's gonna be able to get that last blow with their boop, as that is going to be play, holding on yet again.
Yeah, Panda's also a player that I feel like we've not really highlighted enough. They've done really well at kiting with the Lucio, keeping their team alive in those mid fights and still being able to like get those boobs to set stuff up. Kuruma though on the flank, and there's Panda yet again scouting, finding them. Needs to watch that this pulse bomb doesn't hit them though.
Yeah, now the Coalescence coming in from both of the Moiras here. Who's going to get the advantage with it? The Death Loss, they're not going to find anything. Keo finds the shot true to the dome. The Blizzard as well going to just lock up Sone. He invested their annihilation in that, and that is just going to be another fight win for exclamation point play.
You know, another reason why that Reaper we saw earlier on WCS was paired with a Kiriko is when you go for a Blossom, you can have a Suzu to survive it, because Blossom makes you very vulnerable. It's similar to a Barrage in that way, where it can get a lot of damage done, but it's so risky to do. And with a Moira as your core support, there's not really a whole lot to keep yourself alive. That's why we've now seen Tricky go on to try and match this Sojourn.
Now, Keo's found Risu out again. Sound barriers have been invested, and Sone's just deleted by Twirls with their own annihilation. 3 go down, and that is huge yet again. More and more fights go the way of play, and things are looking up and up for them.
Suffer as he has. That annihilation was gigantic, and suddenly on paper it looked like a David and Goliath story. Flexodiax proved that wasn't true, but now suddenly on Shambali it's looking like it might just be that again. 90 seconds, and Kuruma has already been forced to match Muse on the Mei, but they're going to be behind on the Blizzard game.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, it all might just be over there. Yeah, again, Keo with the overclock, finding just good, consistent damage, and Muse able to get those final blows. The duo of Q and Muse, or Keo and Muse, sorry, are just unstoppable right now.
How many times are we going to push main and get flanked by Keo dropping out of window? How many times are we just going to let that happen to us? We need to see some adaptation here to scout the Keos doing that every fight. Maybe even fake go main, then turn around once you see the Keos down, try and force them out. Or just go to the right side. There's lots of options for you with the Coalescence ready. Chaba can't match it. There's no beat for play. This should be a good situation. It's the Blizzard from Muse that's your biggest threat right now.
Coalescence from Risu has been invested here. They've got to figure it out now. They've got to find a pick with a Blizzard coming in from Muse, but there's huge plays coming in. They've got 2 picks. Keo is out of the fight. They've got to find more, though, and Muse is going to go down to Kurama. But again, the cart is in such a position that they can still get another fight before it gets to capture the second point.
Absolutely, Joker, and it's going to be in overtime. This is still not in a safe spot for Flexodiax. They have won that fight with still keeping both their annihilation and their overclock. Tricky wants to be in a good position for his overclock as well. There isn't a whole lot to be done for play. They are going to have this beat, so if they invest a beat here, they're going to be able to get the Rampage and the Coalescence. So there's a win condition here for both teams. Tricky needs to find these eliminations.
Yeah, Tricky does indeed, but they haven't found anything there. Blizzard going to come through. Sound barriers invested. Annihilation there as well, and Twirls is taken down already, and the point has been captured up by Flexodiax, and that is going to be a new lease on life for the Flexodiax.
Yeah, and they're finding the value of the Mei. They're not just copycatting it. Gruma's doing well to split the field up. That Blizzard caught Twirls completely off guard and was the winning fight there. 1 minute to go here still. It's not over for Flexodiax, especially if they want to finish with some time in the bank. Tolls is going to come into this one with aggressive Annihilation ready. The beat, though, from Flexodiax can't keep them nice and aggressive here against the Coalescence.
There's the Coalescence coming in, and the Annihilation from Twolls is there, but they're on the back foot running to stay alive. Getting their healing there, somehow still alive, still able to find value. And Kyo had found Rod in that meanwhile, and now Coalescence in response from Risu is there, though. Hill trying to hold on to this, try to be able to push forward any which way. There's the overclock from Kyo. Can they find a shot? Can they find their aim true? No one's gonna go down to it, but still more and more times off the board, and Panda comes in from the top ropes to take Kurama out. Blizzard gonna wrap things up fully in the favor of play, and yeah, there's only 8 seconds remaining here, and there's no real chance of a good team fight from Flexodiax.
I don't think they even touch it. Yeah, beautiful overclock timing, utilizing it once they saw that a time bank was in that awkward stage where Flexodiax were now forced to take that fight, force that damage, force the ice block. Great follow-up as well from the Lucio of play. Panda's done really well there at showcasing their skills and their abilities in this stacked roster. Flexodiax, they got to second point, but they did not complete the map. There is now a very clear win condition in this mid-season finals for play. They just need to get it to where Flex push. They don't need to get it all the way. They don't need to get it with extra time. There is a clear point, but also in terms of mentality, Flexodiax, they now feel the wall. They know where the wall is, and their back's up against it. They're going to start swinging, and I want to see more adaptations like we saw with the May previously. Keep on your toes, keep on your feet. Don't stick to your guns if your guns ain't working. They are going to stick to them initially, but if this doesn't work, I want to see that adaptation again. Oh, well, coming in with the Orisa again.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about it, because those last 2 maps, they've tried to run this Orisa comp, and it hasn't worked out for them. And they're banking a lot on this composition to hold strong on a very, very highly aggressive comp that play is running.
It's very counter to movement. You've got the javelins, you've got the nade, but already Kyo's on the flank with 80% to charge. If they just find elimination there, that was very close. Like, all it takes is one overclock to the head, and this all unfurls.
Yeah, the railgun to the railgun to Kurama has already started off things in play's favor, and we might be able to find more. There's no immortality field and no more Sane as well to boot. It's a nice back smack from Kyo, takes Tricky out, and that is just a clean fight win from exclamation point play.
You know, you have a favorite restaurant, right? But, you know, order some different stuff off the menu, because Orisa ain't working. You haven't really found a way to do it yet. And yes, that's a good learning point to come back and look at this, but you don't want to be learning, you want to be winning right now. It's mid-season grand finals time, and you're pushing right into a team that's going to take your head off again.
Yeah, Kyo finds another one with the pummel. Or not pummel, the melee, and now there's the pummel kill coming in from Twolls. But again, they just can't seem to find anything. They find Panda out, but that's just the consolation prize in the grand scheme of things as Rod goes down late, and they're still pushing forward. 5 minutes, another shot from Kyo. I mean, come on.
I mean, hey, quick melee does 40 damage these days. It may as well be a pummel. But yeah, Kyo is absolutely dominating this field, and Tricky already had been forced to go and match onto the Sojourn from the Cassidy, who just doesn't have the range, doesn't have the burst ability. But Tricky struggled to match Kyo, who's so good at this character and finding those early eliminations, who also has overclock now in this fight.
Yeah, they have overclock, which is going to be huge. Very close to Blizzard as well here. And the Coalescence is going to be invested early on. And well, Sony is going to get caught out in the midst of their Terra Surge by Jabba. As that might just be point number 2, going the way of play here. They just don't have anything to really engage with unless they invest this Amp Matrix. And, well, they're not going to because they've lost Tricky.
Mm-hmm. They have lost Tricky, but they have also lost the point. This is utter dominance. Play have accessed a level of locked in that I haven't seen from them up until now. They are in their absolute element, whether it was a warm-up issue or maybe not really respecting the level that Flexodiax was going to come at the start of this one. They are in absolute peak performance right now.
They really are. They really are indeed. 4 ultimates to go to win one single fight here. And the Amp Matrix is just not going to find anything from Flexodia now. They can go in. They're trying to push away. Still holding it out. There's no more Javelin Spin. You can throw in this Blizzard if you're Muse. But there's the Annihilation coming in. Soundbeer comes through. There it is. It's just the ult dump coming in from exclamation point Play. And that might just be the nail in the coffin. And it seems to be. This Keo finds 2. The Annihilation finds 1 more. Exclamation point Play. Take them out. The series in a 3-2 fashion. And I mean, a huge, nice early birthday present coming in from Keo, who turns 18 tomorrow.
I am sure they'll be reveling in this one because it wasn't as secured for them. They've been up against match point since the second map, and they've just showed more and more dominance. You keep playing these maps, and they'll look like they're the top team in the entire EU region because that's how much they were just getting exponentially better. Perhaps it was a warm-up issue. I don't know what it was, but whatever they accessed after those first 2 maps, it was primal. And it was smart as well. It wasn't just individuals playing. It was a compositional forcing Flexodiax to play Sony on the Orisa so many times to the point where they were just running rings around the Orisa, building overclock and the railgun itself off the Orisa so many times, and then just taking the heads off the rest of the team. Play looked utterly dominant those last 3 maps.
Yeah, and I said it after they lost their first map. We need to see if exclamation Play has that championship DNA. Can they show us that they deserve to be the champions? And they definitely have. They came back. They clawed back from that 2-0 down. Now they are, and they won the last 3 maps, all staving off elimination in pretty convincing fashion on those last 3 maps.
So convincing. I mean, to be fair to them, it wasn't like they were completely outstyled in those first 2 maps. They were just slightly outplayed, and Flexodiax showed us that Play are not infallible. There can be blood drawn from them. They can be taken to their limits, but Play, they've done it. They've secured themselves. They proved dominance, and I think the Shambali was a little bit of a statement made to the rest of the teams in this division to say, hey, just because we've lost some maps doesn't mean we're still not the kings, because they're the kings, baby.
I'm really excited to see if Play decide to try for OWCS Stage 2. Because I think they could definitely at least make the top 16 after that performance there. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's not for another month now, so until then, we won't know.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, it's plenty of time to A, get better, and B, make sure all your players are above age, and maybe that was why we haven't seen them in that. But other than that, obviously that's just speculation. I don't really know why they didn't decide to try.
Biding their time.
Yeah, they're biding their time, making everyone seem complacent, and then they come in, take OWCS by storm.
RKO and over.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to see what this team does down the line here, Gio.
Yeah, very exciting. Like I said earlier, these players are some of the premier tier 2 and, as I said, potential tier 1 players in the EU scene. Now that the glass ceiling has dissipated and we're seeing a whole new generation of Overwatch players in OWCS and around the high eras and echelons of Overwatch, it's just so exciting to see, and it's so great for players like the roster of play who could go to OWCS if they put their chips down and applied themselves in qualifiers, because Flexodiax, the team that they've beaten today and have beaten before, are also OWCS caliber, so they've really done something for themselves here, play. They've really put themselves up in the overall tier list of EU. This has been an amazing matchup.
Yeah, it was just incredible all around. Huge GGs to Flexodiax. You played your heart out, but again, it can only be one team to stay on the top of the midseason tournament, and that is going to be exclamation point play. Again, huge happy early birthday to Keo.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, probably my MVP of the series. If I had to think. You played.
Fair enough.
I mean, you played incredibly. I mean, he played incredibly those last 3 maps. I mean,
Oh yeah.
really just stood out on that Sojourn. But other than that, Gio, I think there's nothing more to say here. Besides, after we finish this off, make sure to go watch CGL 1 for the remaining grand finals we have in this mid-season tournament.
Yeah, the CGL is popping off this weekend. The mid-season's going wild. There's an amazing hype video. It's all going super awesome. And if you haven't noticed, on CGL 1, there is a desk, just like on Friday Night Overwatch, but now because of all the amazing finals going on across the community. So hop on over to CGL 1. Keep an eye on CGL Social to see what else comes up as we head in the transition from EU to NA games. Also, it's a lot going on, so keep your eyes out. But from me and Jokers, that is us here with the EU Open. GG's to both teams. Exclamation play, cement themselves the finals, and don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. See you around.